Kerala, historically known as Keralam, is a state in South India on the Malabar coast. It was formed on 1 November 1956 following the state's Reorganisation Act by combining various Malayalam-speaking regions. Spread over 38,863 square kilometres, it is bordered by Karnataka to the north and northeast, Tamil Nadu to the east and south, and the Lakshadweep Sea to the west. With 33,387,677 inhabitants as per the 2011 census. Kerala is the 13th largest state by population and is divided into 14 districts, with the capital being Tiruvananthapuram. Malayalam is the most widely spoken and the official language of the state. The region was a prominent spice exporter from 3000 BCE. The Chera dynasty was the first prominent kingdom based in Kerala, though it frequently struggled against attacks from the neighbouring Cholas and Pandyas. In the 15th century, the spice trade attracted Portuguese traders to Kerala, and paved the way for the European colonization of India. After independence, Travancore and Kochi joined the Republic of India, and Travancore-Kochi was given the status of a state. In 1956, Kerala state was formed by merging Malabar district, Travancore-Kochi, and the taluk of Kasaragod, South Kannada. Kerala has the lowest positive population growth rate in India, 3.44%, highest Human Development Index, 0.790 in 2011. The highest literacy rate, 93.91%, the highest life expectancy, 77 years, and the highest sex ratio, 1,084 women per 1,000 men. The state has witnessed significant emigration, especially to the Gulf states during the Gulf boom of the 1970s and early 1980s. And its economy depends significantly on remittances from a large Malayali expatriate community. Hinduism is practiced by more than half of the population, followed by Islam and Christianity. The culture is a synthesis of Aryan and Dravidian cultures, developed over millennia, under influences from other parts of India and abroad. The production of pepper and natural rubber contributes significantly to the total national output. In the agricultural sector, coconut, tea, coffee, cashew and spices are important. The state's coastline extends for 595 kilometers. And around 1.1 million people in the state are dependent on the fishery industry, which contributes 3% of the state's income. The state has the highest media exposure in India, with newspapers publishing in 9 different languages, mainly English and Malayalam. Kerala is one of the prominent tourist destinations, with backwaters, beaches, Ayurvedic tourism and tropical greenery its major attractions. Etymology. The name Kerala has an uncertain etymology. Keralam may stem from the classical Tamil Cheravalam or Cheralam, while Kerala may represent an imperfect Malayalam portmanteau fusing Kera and Alam. Kerala can also be derived from the word Cheral, that refers to the oldest known dynasty of Kerala kings. The word Cheral is derived from the Proto-Tamil Malayalam word for lake. The earliest Sanskrit text to mention Kerala is the Aitareya Aranyaka of the Rig Veda. It is also mentioned in the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, the 2 Hindu epics. The word Kerala is first recorded in a 3rd century BCE rock inscription left by the Maurya Emperor Ashoka. The inscription refers to the local ruler as Keralaputra, or son of Chera S. This contradicts a popular theory that its etymology derives Kerala from Kera. At that time, one of 3 states in the region was called Cherilam in classical Tamil. Chera and Kera are variants of the same word. The Greco-Roman trade map Periplus Maris Erythraeae refers to Keralaputra as Selobhatra. History. Mythology. Dastar stories of Hindu mythology were linked to Kerala by Aryan settlers from north. According to them, the lands of Kerala were recovered from the sea by the axe-wielding warrior sage Parasurama's sixth avatar of Vishnu. Hence Kerala is also called Parasurama Kshetram. Parasurama threw his axe across the sea, and the water receded as far as it reached. According to legend, this new area of land extended from Gokarna to Kanyakumari. The consensus among scientific geographers is that a substantial portion of this area was under the sea in ancient times. The land which rose from sea was filled with salt and unsuitable for habitation, so Parasurama invoked the snake king Vasuki, who spat holy poison and converted the soil into fertile lush green land. Out of respect, Vasuki and all snakes were appointed as protectors and guardians of the land. The legend was later expanded, and found literary expression in the 17th or 18th century with Keralolpathy, which traces the origin of aspects of early Kerala society, such as land tenure and administration, to the story of Parasurama. In medieval times Kuttavan may have emulated the Parasurama tradition by throwing his spear into the sea to symbolize his lordship over it. Another much earlier Puranic character associated with Kerala is Mahalbalai, an asura and a prototypical just king, who ruled the earth from Kerala. He won the war against the Devas, driving them into exile. The Devas pleaded before Lord Vishnu, who took his fifth incarnation as Vamana and pushed Mahalbalai down to Patala to placate the Devas. There is a belief that, once a year during the Onam festival, Mahalbalai returns to Kerala. The Matsya Purana, among the oldest of the 18 Puranas, uses the Malaya mountains of Kerala as the setting for the story of Lord Matsya, the first incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and King Manu, the first man and the king of the region. Prehistorical archaeological findings include dolmens of the Neolithic era in the Maurya area of the Idukki district. They are locally known as Munira, derived from Muni and Ara. Rock engravings in the Idakal caves, in Wayanad are thought to date from the Neolithic era around 6000 BCE. Archaeological studies have identified many Mesolithic, Neolithic and megalithic sites in Kerala. The studies point to the development of ancient Kerala society and its culture beginning from the Paleolithic age, through the Mesolithic, Neolithic and megalithic ages. Foreign cultural contacts have assisted this cultural formation. Historians suggest a possible relationship with Indus Valley civilization during the Late Bronze Age and Early Iron Age. Ancient period Kerala was a major spice exporter from 3000 BCE, according to Sumerian records, and it is still referred to as the Garden of Spices, or as the Spice Garden of India. Kerala's spices attracted ancient Babylonians, Assyrians and Egyptians to the Malabar coast in the 3rd and 2nd millennia BCE. Arabs and Phoenicians established trade with Kerala during this period. The land of Kerala-Putra was one of the 4 independent kingdoms in southern India during Ashoka's time, the others being Chola, Pandya, and Satyaputra. Scholars hold that Kerala-Putra is an alternate name of the Cheras, the first dominant dynasty based in Kerala. These territories once shared a common language and culture, within an area known as Tamilakam. While the Cheras ruled most of modern Kerala, its southern tip was in the kingdom of Pandyas, which had a trading port sometimes identified in ancient Western sources as Nelkunda. Later, the region fell under the control of the Pandyas, Cheras, and Koles. Ays and Mushikas were 2 other dynasties of ancient Kerala, whose kingdoms lay to the south and north of Cheras respectively. In the last centuries BCE, the coast became important to the Greeks and Romans for its spices, especially black pepper. The Cheras had trading links with China, West Asia, Egypt, Greece, and the Roman Empire. In foreign trade circles, the region was known as Mail or Malabar. Musaris, Burkari, and Nelkunda were among the principal ports at that time. The value of Rome's annual trade with the region was estimated at around 50 million sesterces. Contemporary Sangam literature describes Roman ships coming to Muziris in Kerala, laden with gold to exchange for pepper. One of the earliest Western traders to use the monsoon winds to reach Kerala was Eudoxus of Cyzicus, around 118 or 166 BCE. Under the patronage of Ptolemy VIII, king of the Hellenistic Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt, various Roman establishments in the port cities of the region, such as a temple of Augustus and barracks for garrisoned Roman soldiers, are marked in the Tabula Peutingeriana, the only surviving map of the Roman cursus publicus. Merchants from West Asia and southern Europe established coastal posts and settlements in Kerala. The Jewish connection with Kerala started in 573 BCE. Arabs also had trade links with Kerala, starting before the 4th century BCE, as Herodotus noted that goods brought by Arabs from Kerala were sold to the Jews at Eden. They intermarried with local people, resulting in formation of the Muslim Mappila community. In the 4th century, some Christians also migrated from Persia and joined the early Syrian Christian community, who trace their origins to the evangelistic activity of Thomas the Apostle in the 1st century. Mappila was an honorific title that had been assigned to respected visitors from abroad. Jewish, Syrian Christian, and Muslim immigration account for later names of the respective communities: Judah Mappilus, Nazrana Mappilus, and Muslim Mappilus. According to the legends of these communities, the earliest churches, mosque, and synagogue in India were built in Kerala. Early medieval period Day Second Chera Kingdom, also known as Kulasekara dynasty of Mahodayapuram, was established by Kulasekara Varman, which ruled over a territory comprising the whole of modern Kerala and a smaller part of modern Tamil Nadu. During the early part of the Kulasekara period, the southern region from Nagarkoval to Tiruvalla was ruled by I kings, who lost their power in the 10th century, making the region a part of the Kulasekara Empire. Under Kulasekara rule, Kerala witnessed a developing period of art, literature, trade and the Bhakti movement of Hinduism. A Keralite identity, distinct from the Tamils, became linguistically separate during this period. For local administration, the empire was divided into provinces under the rule of Naduvajis, with each province comprising a number of decims under the control of chieftains, called as Dasavajis. The inhibitions, caused by a series of Chera-Chola wars in the 11th century, resulted in the decline of foreign trade in Kerala ports. Buddhism and Jainism disappeared from the land. The social system became fractured with divisions on caste lines. Finally, the Kulasekara dynasty was subjugated in 1102 by the combined attack of later Pandyas and later Cholas. However, in the 14th century, Ravivarma Kulasekara of the southern Venad kingdom was able to establish a short-lived supremacy over southern India. After his death, in the absence of a strong central power, the state was divided into 30 small warring principalities. The most powerful of them were the kingdom of Samadhiri in the north, Venad in the south and Kochi in the middle. In the 18th century, Travancore king Sre and Yijam Thirunal Martandavarma annexed all the kingdoms up to northern Kerala through military conquests, resulting in the rise of Travancore to pre-eminence in Kerala. The Kochi ruler sued for peace with Yijam Thirunal, and Malabar came under direct British rule until India became independent. Colonial era. The maritime spice trade monopoly in the Indian Ocean stayed with Arabs during the High and Late Middle Ages. However, the dominance of Middle East traders was challenged in the European Age of Discovery, during which the spice trade, particularly in black pepper, became an influential activity for European traders. Around the 15th century, the Portuguese began to dominate eastern shipping, and the spice trade in particular, culminating in Vasco da Gama's arrival in Cap at Kozhikode in 1498. The Zamorin of Kozhikode permitted the new visitors to trade with his subjects, such that Portuguese trade in Kozhikode prospered with the establishment of a factory and a fort. However, Portuguese attacks on Arab properties in his jurisdiction provoked the Zamorin and led to conflicts between them. The Portuguese took advantage of the rivalry between the Zamorin and the King of Kochi and allied with Kochi. When Francisco de Almeida was appointed as Viceroy of Portuguese India in 1505, his headquarters was established at Fort Kochi rather than in Kozhikode. During his reign, the Portuguese managed to dominate relations with Kochi and established a few fortresses on the Malabar coast. However, the Portuguese suffered setbacks from attacks by Zamorin forces, especially from naval attacks under the leadership of Kozhikode admirals known as Kunjali Marikas, which compelled them to seek a treaty. In 1571, the Portuguese were defeated by the Zamorin forces in the battle at Chalayam Fort. The Portuguese were ousted by the Dutch East India Company, who during the conflicts between the Kozhikode and the Kochi, gained control of the trade. The Dutch in turn were weakened by constant battles with Martanda Varma of the Travancore royal family, and were defeated at the Battle of Colachel in 1741. An agreement, known as Treaty of Mavalikara, was signed by the Dutch and Travancore in 1753, according to which the Dutch were compelled to detach from all political involvement in the region. Martanda Varma annexed many northern kingdoms through military conquests, resulting in the rise of Travancore to a position of preeminence in Kerala. In 1766, Hyder Ali, the ruler of Mysore, invaded northern Kerala. His son and successor, Tipu Sultan, launched campaigns against the expanding British East India Company, resulting in two of the four Anglo-Mysore wars. Tipu ultimately ceded the Malabar district and South Kanara to the company in the 1790s. Both were annexed to the Madras Presidency of British India. In 1792, the company forged tributary alliances with Kochi in 1791 and Travancore in 1795. By the end of the 18th century, the whole of Kerala fell under the control of the British, either administered directly or under suzerainty. There were major revolts in Kerala during the independence movement in the 20th century. Most notable among them is the 1921 Malabar Rebellion and the many social struggles in Travancore. In the Malabar Rebellion, Mappila Muslims of Malabar rioted against Hindu Zamindars and the British Raj. Some social struggles against caste inequalities also erupted in the early decades of the 20th century, leading to the 1936 Temple Entry Proclamation that opened Hindu temples in Travancore to all castes. Post-colonial period. After British India was partitioned in 1947 into India and Pakistan, Travancore and Kochi, part of the Union of India, were merged on 1 July 1949 to form Travancore-Kochi. On 1 November 1956, the taluk of Kasargod in the South Kanara district of Madras, the Malabar district of Madras, and Travancore-Kochi, without four southern taluks, merged to form the state of Kerala under the States Reorganisation Act. A communist-led government under E.M.S. Namboodiripad resulted from the first elections for the new Kerala Legislative Assembly in 1957. It was one of the earliest elected communist governments, after communist success in the 1945 elections in the Republic of San Moreno.